Again, on behalf of the wide world of sports team, it's Chris Bombolas bidding you farewell in the Coca-Cola Club. Hello, welcome to the Goldpin Coca-Cola Classic here from the Capalaba Lanes. I'm your host, Chris Bombolas. Your commentators will be Steve Mackey and Jeanette Baker-Flynn. This is the men's second round match between Mark Ramsey of Queensland and Rob Zikman of Victoria.
Yes, Mark Ramsey looking resplendent in the maroon colours of the home state, and he'll get a big round of applause here whenever he does anything worthy of such, and he's up in the first frame.
What a great start for the Queenslander and Mark Ramsey.
And now here we see the ball going down the lanes, picking up revolutions, a very late break there, right on the headpin and getting the desired mix for the strike.
Yes, there it is again from a different height. And a good reaction by Mark. Back with Rob Zikman now, first frame for him.
Cross to the Brooklyn that time. Not able to quite get it in a solid Brooklyn for a good count, leaving a bit tricky spare there with the 3-9.
Rob Zikman, a very experienced bowler. He won the WA Open in 1986, the City Masters champion of 87 and 88, the state team, the singles all event in 87, and the FIQ Hong Kong in 1988.
Yes, and in the Hong Kong team, he was the Australian team captain, and probably picked that way because of his vast experience over 25 years of bowling. And let's take a look at this spare now. There's 22 inches separating the front and back pin there, and he needed all that roll on the ball to get through there. Back live with Rob Zikman.
Let's have a look at him now. He's coming off a spare, so important here with this one. A strike would be nice.
Once again, going on the Brooklyn side, a little bit of a nasty baby split here, the 5-6. The ball does fit between them, but it takes good accuracy to get the ball between the two pins. Again, inside target, crossing over, light, hoping for a bit of mix, but unfortunately left with that baby split.
What's the aim here?
To get them right between the two of them, and that was never a chance. So an open frame in the second for Rob Zikman. 27 plays a strike by Mark Ramsey. He's up for 2 shots now, and he can take a big lead because that's what Rob Zikman did just a moment ago. And Mark Ramsey, a left-handed bowler.
Working very feverishly on the ball. Mark Ramsey won the 1987 Gold Coast Open, finished 4th in the 88 Cold Foam Classic and 5th in the 1988 Brisbane Cup. Coming off a strike and a picture of concentration. A great result again. That's 2 in a row.
Yes, it was a great result by Mark Ramsey. Great push away. This man's come out of nowhere in the last year or so, and he credits one of the American professional bowlers, Donna Adamek, with his ability to project the ball out on the lane, just like she does.
There we see Mark's action. Late with the ball through and plenty of lift off the fingers to get the revolutions at the back end.
There's one thing I wanted to ask you, Steve. He turns that ball profusely, doesn't he?
Yes, and one of the reasons that he does that is this thing, I suppose you could call it, on his left hand, his bowling hand. It really projects the ball down the lane.
Almost got that 3rd strike in a row.
Yes, that would have been nice if he'd done that, because a 300 game in this, the first one bowled in the program, will win a Samara Deluxe car by Brock.
Yes, that's from Highway Auto Centre, Pacific Highway, Springwood, here in Queensland. And here's the Queenslander coming up for a spare. Just got it.
He changed balls to go for that spare and went to a harder case ball that goes a bit straighter, but it almost didn't quite come off, just tucking it right on the inside there.
Well, Rob Zikman, 22 pins behind. 27 plays 49. This is the top of the 3rd for him.
Gave it a little bit more room on the lane that time, but with giving it a little bit more room, a little bit more rotation. Again in the Brooklyn side, as we see the ball going down, out a little bit further, but picking up over to the Brooklyn, and therefore leaving the single pin, the number 6.
Yeah, I was thinking, watching Rob during the practice and in his first round match against Warren Stewart, if he could angle his feet just a little bit, perhaps he'd be able to project the ball further out to the right before it starts to hook.
Safe spare there for Rob Zikman. And at the end of the second frame, it's Mark Ramsey in front by 22 pins. Rob Zikman from Victoria. He's coming off a spare, and he's trailing by 22 pins after the second frame, so the pressure really on him, Steve.
Yes, and a long, pensive look out there on the lane, hoping that he can find the board that will get him into the strike pocket.
And that's the one, and a great reaction there.
Here we go, Rob just opening his shoulders a little bit, giving the ball a bit more room, knowing he can trust it, light and getting the desired mix that he's looking for.
Yes, and a good reaction by Rob Zikman. He comes over here, he's calling the ball in, and there they go.
This is Mark Ramsey from Geebung here in Queensland.
A little bit wide on that shot. Got it out okay, but he didn't look like he got enough fingers on it to let it come back and rotate. Consequently, light and leaving the 2 pins on the deck.
Yes, it looked like he'd moved just a fraction inside there on his approach. I'm not sure about that, but it seemed as though he was standing a little further towards the right from that first time on that lane.
A safe spare there for Mark Ramsey from Queensland. And he's in front by 20 pins.
There we go, the ball crossing over, beautifully covers both pins, the desired result for a perfect spare.
Yes, when you go for the spares, it's best if the ball can hit as many pins in the spare leave as possible, and Mark Ramsey now back on lane 3. It's been kind to him twice.
Once again, light, giving it a bit of room, but not necessarily the work. The thing is with these lanes is that it's very, very sensitive to speed. A little bit more speed coming through there, shoulder down a little bit, and therefore the ball skids that little bit further and leaving the nasty clump on the right-hand side.
Yes, and this is a difficult spare because there's 4 in it and he turns the ball so much. Let's see if he speeds up a bit. It's a different ball.
And he completes it successfully, so that was the spare he was after. And after 4 frames, he's got a healthy lead.
Once again, the ball hitting as many pins as possible, allowing for the deflection of the ball off the pins. Mark a little bit quicker on that swing through to get the speed and therefore not too much turn at the end.
Was hoping that one would fall, I think.
Yes, that was a tough break for Rob. He wasn't real confident about it. Let's have a look now when he lets it go. He saw that tongue move there, and that was a bit of a tough break. Quite often they go.
And safely negotiates the spare.
Seems the corners might be a bit of a problem for the bowlers. They're both using different balls for their corner spares. Rob changed to a different ball, a much harder ball to shoot that right-hand corner spare and consequently get it to go a bit straighter.
Yes, it was a much harder ball, wasn't it? Probably another 5 or 6 on the durometer scale, that one.
Yes.
Bowling balls these days, you never know what they're going to do next. The manufacturers, that is. They bring out all sorts of different casings.
Oh, that was a good one. A good strike there for Rob Zikman. He's slowly picking back this lead from Mark Ramsey.
Yes, 16 pins the difference now. And let's have a look at this. This was a good shot. Great extension. Further out to the right that time.
Plus a little bit more depth to help. A little bit higher on that knee, more lift, and consequently the result was there.
Mark Ramsey now, coming off a spare. He's let Rob Zikman back into this match, and there's nothing in it at the moment, Steve.
No, he has let him back in, and by virtue of a couple of loose shots, he went light the first couple of times. He got strikes, and all of a sudden now he's left a couple of buckets. He needs to get back into the pocket.
His tempo looked very good on the approach that time, but unfortunately, again, just that little bit more skid. And of course, in a situation like this, the hardest thing to do is to tell your muscles just to relax and do what it's been doing for so many times. And therefore, when it comes to swinging the ball from the top of the backswing through, it's very easy to push it that little bit further, a little bit harder, and therefore leaving a little bit of a spare on the right-hand side.
Yes, you mentioned tempo then, and that's the speed of his feet on the approach, going from the starting point to the release point, right?
That's correct, Steve. Here we go. We see Mark's tempo. That ball was a little bit behind in timing that time, which made him pull the ball through a little bit quicker in order to make the shot.
Your timing's so important in all the individual sports, golf, tennis, squash, 10-pin bowling, one of the most difficult of the lot of the individual sports. It's 4 shots in a row now. He's done virtually the same thing 4 times in a row. That's amazing.
And here we see the ball going down. It's picking up revolutions. It's trying to grab the lane, trying to get in, but just that fraction short. I don't know whether there could be a little bit of oil carried down there, Steve, in front of the headpin and making the ball skid that fraction too far. It only takes a little drop, and that's the difference.
Yes, the lanes here at Capalaba feature water-based lacquer.
Safe spare there for Mark Ramsey. So he gets back on the track.
Well, the situation, though, is that Rob Zikman will still be 3 pins behind, even if he gets a spare. He takes the lead with a double. And he'll need a double because that ball of Mark's covered the spare adequately.
He's really taking his time this time. And it paid dividends. Another strike, so that's a double.
Yes, and what a good double it was. He did take his time that time. We'll have a look at it. Oh, yes. That was... Oh, yes. And look at the happiness on Rob Zikman's face when he did that.
You can always tell when they release a good shot because they immediately go down as soon as the ball's 3/4 of the way down the lane and know what the result's going to be.
Well, Rob, a bit of a showman. He's been in the game a long time. He started bowling when he was about 18 years of age at Bankstown in Sydney. He's now 40. Lives in Ferntree Gully in Melbourne, and the Australian team captain in 1988. Let's see if he can take a captain's knock with another strike.
A little bit inside target that time by Rob, a little bit on the nose, and fortunately enough gets away with an 8 count in the right-hand corner. There we see the ball going down, picking up, but again, through the nose, lucky to get that 7-pin out and leaving what we think is normally an easy spare.
And he's changed to that hard ball again to send it down the lane. Well done, Rob Zikman. Good thinking. 5 pins the difference now, and he is the new leader. 135 in the 7th. A maximum for Mark Ramsey if he strikes on this shot of 130. And the Queensland crowd trying to gee up their young charge. A bit of inexperience, perhaps, Chris, with 5 wayward shots in a row.
Yes, he's really let Rob Zikman back into the match. He started off with 2 strikes, but as you say, a couple of wayward shots, and now the tide has changed.
Well, he's taking his time too. Let's see if he's taken a leaf out of Zikman's book.
He certainly has, and that is a good strike and a good reply.
That was a solid strike. Look at the concentration. The ball going down, a little bit more lift on the ball that time. Gets it to jump up and gets a beautiful strike.
Yes, it did jump. And let's have a look at his reaction after the ball hits the pins. Yes.
All gone.
Yeah, 10 in the pit, as they say. He needs a double to take the lead back. Top of the 9th.
double, and is he happy in the crowd right behind Mark Ramsey.
With a strike like that under such pressure, plenty of lift on the ball. Look at the revolutions taking over into the pocket. Solid strike.
More revolutions there than in South America.
There he is, they're all down, and he's fought his way back into the match. There's nothing in it. We'll see how it goes after this break. Winner in both the men's and the ladies' competition will be competing in the 1989 High Roller Tournament in Las Vegas. They will be flying to and from the United States in luxury and style with Qantas, the spirit of Australia. Rob Zikman out to bowl. This is the top of the ninth for him.
Well, he has the chance now to get 60 pins in these next two shots and make Mark Ramsey go at least twice more to win the match. 5 pins the difference. Rob Zikman in arrears. He needs a strike now in this foundation frame.
Pushed it a little bit hard that time, Rob. He wanted to try and make too certain, perhaps just squeeze the ball a little bit hard, and has left the baby split in the right-hand side. There we see the ball going down, a little bit high on the nose. The 6-pin disappears and therefore leaves the 310 in the right-hand side.
Isn't it cruel under pressure? You try to place the ball rather than just trusting it.
So easily done, Steve. A great cover for that spare, perfectly executed between the 3 and the 10-pin. And therefore, Rob has finished his 9th frame.
Yes, and what a way to finish it. Look at that. Oh, boy, that's a tough spare under the whip. That's like needing a turkey just to tie a game, this one. And he did it well. 10th frame now, and Rob Zikman's maximum score with a turkey is 203. That will make Mark Ramsey get at least the first strike. Now, this is very important for Rob Zikman.
Wow, I tried to make too sure of that one. Made sure he gave it heaps of room. I was amazed that it came back as far as it did.
Yes, have a look at this. Oh, that was almost in the gutter. I took a deep sigh away from the microphone because I don't know what I would have said if he'd thrown it in the gutter then. That was so close. But it came back and he got a good result out of it. It's kept Mark Ramsey honest. That's the main thing. Honest by virtue that he'll need a closed frame now to win the match. And Rob Zikman bowling a much more solid game than his opening round encounter against Warren Stewart. He'll bowl a game in the 190 odds as opposed to his winning first round score of 169. A good count important for Rob Zikman here, and that's not terribly good. Gives him a score of 189, and well, it's all ahead of Mark Ramsey now. Can the local boy come good?
How much pressure would be on Mark now, Jeanette?
Well, I think he'd be having hot flushes like you wouldn't believe. Just going through his mind saying, all I need is a good count and therefore a spare, and I've got this match sewn up. And you don't want to do too much with the ball, but you don't want to do too little either. So he'll be just trying to execute the shot as good as what he has the last two. A 9 count that time by Mark. Again, as we said, just trying to make too sure of it, hanging on to the ball that little bit longer, not quite enough rotation with the fingers, and getting away with a 9 count.
Well, this is a key shot. If he gets the spare, he wins. If he misses it, he loses by 2.
Oh, and he's missed it. A gutter ball has cost him victory.
Oh, mate. Oh, this is a cruel game, this one. 187 loses to 189, and Mark Ramsey most unhappy with himself. He bowled a pretty good game there, but there you go. That's the luck of the draw. 189 beat 187.
So Mark Ramsey is the loser. He takes home $150 after looking home and hose. And Rob Zikman is the winner. He plays Gary Jeffrey in the next match of the 1988 Goldpin Coca-Cola Classic. As your host, our commentators will be Steve Mackey and Terry Wenbad. And this is a men's third-round match between Gary Jeffrey from South Australia, the 13th seed, and Rob Zikman from Victoria, the 15th seed.
Well, Gary Jeffrey, a left-hander, and oh, what a great style this man's got. I love it. It's a bit Fred Flintstone-ish, I think. Just creeps up to the line.
Didn't get to come around that shot then.